In progress.
All right. Sweet. All right. So this is our official launch. It is a nationwide program, which is why we wanted to do an online one, just to make it accessible to everyone in our community across the US. So again, thank you for being here and welcome. Just a little bit about about Big City Mountaineers, if anybody is new to our community. We are an outdoor equity nonprofit. Our headquarters are in Denver, but we actually serve regions across the United States. So we exist in Boston, Minnesota, California, in the Bay Area, Seattle, and we just recently are starting in Birmingham, Alabama, which is very exciting. We are no longer in Portland, so that is incorrect. And our mission is to provide transformative experiences through connections to nature that strengthen life skills and build community for youth from disinvested communities. So moving right along to what Adventure for Someone is. This is our peer-to-peer fundraising program, where we work with our community or with corporate brands and other organizations to raise money for Big City Mountaineers to get more youth from disinvested communities outside. So what this looks like is that you or your company chooses an adventure, which really can be anything. It doesn't have to be a big send. It can be something as simple as like walking every street in your neighborhood, or like gearing up for a 5K, or it can be something like climbing Denali, which we have someone here doing, which is fantastic. So you choose your adventure, you choose your fundraising goal, and then you work with your community to raise funds for that adventure. So it kind of adds a meaning to your adventure. And then all of those donations, all of that fundraising money comes to BCM so that we can support our programming. So if you need ideas, which sometimes is the biggest hurdle for folks, is people needing ideas of what to do. There really is no limit or guidelines to these things. A lot of people usually use their legs in some capacity, whether it's a walk or a run or a hike or training for an ultra, or we have some folks from Nemo who might want to do a Ragnar race. Smartwell last year did Bierstadt, which we'll hear about. That's usually the common adventure that people choose, but we've had people in the past do a hot dog eating contest. It has been, we've had people in the past hike across the United States only eating Subway. Haven't met the person who did that, but I've heard a lot about it. So you can get super creative. You can do things as a team. So like say you and your partner, or say you and a group of friends want to do some sort of like adventure race or a relay, or just do something together. You can, as a team, do an adventure for someone. And so these are examples from 2023 specifically. So Tom, or T-Rex, who's here, he's going to be chatting with us as well, did a Trans-Portugal bike ride, which again is pretty rad. And just an example, that's you don't have to go that big if you don't want to. Someone else ran their first 50K. This was in memory of someone else who passed. So that's another way you can do your adventure for someone. Our one family decided to get 1,000 hours outside with their young daughter. So, more accessible for people with young kids in their family. And then here's an example of one of our corporate AFSs was our hike out Bierstadt. So again, just some ideas. There really, really, truly is no limit. So we kind of have two types of adventure for someone, at least that we'll really be touching on here. And that is the individual adventure for someone, which is, you as a person, outside of your workplace, you're deciding to take on an adventure and fundraise for it. So again, you have an unlimited number of choices, which maybe it's overwhelming, or maybe that feels really exciting to be able to like knock something off a bucket list or something like that. You also get to choose your own fundraising goal, which should be something that feels accessible and attainable to you. No amount is too little and no amount is too much. If you don't reach your goal, again, like that's okay, but choose a goal that you think that you can reach. within your community. That's something that can also feel daunting for folks. And then you start fundraising. So usually the way people do this is through social media, Facebook, Instagram. I don't know if people can do that on X, but maybe it's happened in the past. But a lot of social media blasts, sometimes emails, to reach your community. And usually you're fundraising up until your adventure, but some folks, including people on this call, actually ended up getting money even afterwards. So our fundraising window closes October 1st. So if people still donate to your campaign after you've actually already done the adventure, that's totally okay. And then our corporate AFS. So this is where, as a brand or an organization, you can do something as a squad, as a group, and raise money through your community. So this can look like a variety of things. It could be department versus department type of adventures, or it could be you doing one thing as a group. It can be a volunteer day. So some places give volunteer hours for their employees, and some people have been able to use volunteer hours for their adventure for someone. It is a little bit more collaborative with us as an organization, so we can do like co-promoting on social media for these types of things. If your company is able to match corporate AFS, that's awesome. And it also is often an incentive for people to donate more. It's like, oh, my money is going twice as far. But it is also a little bit more on you as the person organizing it to recruit the people in your company. We're more than happy to help and are always available to brainstorm ideas to get more people to be part of this corporate AFS. But we hope that people in your company are excited to engage in this adventure. And then the last kind of just little intro part is that for Adventure for Someone's, we do give incentives. So if you fundraise certain amounts of money, you reach certain amounts of money, you get to pick from a variety of incentives. We have a $500 tier, we have a $1,000 tier, $2,500, $5,000, and a $10,000 tier. And those each come with a variety, usually gear. This year, we're also including some experiences that you can pick from as kind of incentives for you to continue raising money. And if your donors donate $100, they get entered into a raffle with kind of a gear package. And then if they donate over 250, they get entered into another raffle. So donors also get incentives potentially as well, depending on the amount they donate. And then all of you, if you reach certain fundraising amounts, will get to pick from a lot of incentives. Our first round of incentives is up, and we'll have those here. And then we're going to probably be adding more to that too over the next couple of months. So we have our campaign incentive tiers. This is what we currently have we have 500. Everyone, no matter, you don't have to, everyone who reaches 500 will be getting a Caltopo Pro subscription. They were really generous and were giving us a lot of those. So you get that if you hit 500 guaranteed, and then you get to pick something else as well. The other tiers, you pick one item from those listed. And we do have our $10,000 tier 2, which is kind of a Summit for Someone type adventure. It might be booking you on a trip to Mount Hood or Whitney or Timberline or Rainier or something like that, if that's what you want. And yeah, hopefully someone gets there this year. And then on the right are the donor incentive tiers for people who donate $100 or $250. All right, so I'm going to pass it over to Tyler first. He is the CRM manager at Smartroll and ran an AFS last year, which was awesome. So yeah, it's all you, Tyler.
Oops. Great. Hey, everyone. So I want to talk a bit about our campaign last year and hopefully provide a couple of nuggets that help make it successful that some of you could reuse. So I'm on the digital marketing team at Smartroll. I've been here about 2 years, and Smartroll has a handful of special advocacy partners that Big City Mountaineers is one of. And we support them through financial donations and then custom products like socks and things like that. And Sarah Aldock and I, who's also on the call, we help organize that partnership. So last spring or winter, David had asked us to do an AFS corporate campaign, and I have a really hard time saying no to David. So of course we ended up doing one. Our goal was originally $5,000, and he said we could aim higher, so we aimed a little bit higher. And our goal was 10,000. We ended up reaching about 85% of that, so we were happy for that for our first year. I think this was a bit outside my comfort zone. I don't even like asking people to watch my dog on the weekend, much less ask them for money. So this is a bit of a learning experience. Kind of had to put on a different hat every day when I was rallying my team to do this. But it was I think we started with a really successful launch. David came to our office and we had breakfast burritos, and he talked for 15 minutes about Big City Mountaineers. Most people know what Big City Mountaineers is, but it was helpful to get a refresher. And then that's when we launched our campaign and spent about 5 minutes inviting people to join us. And then we did a series of other things that all involved food to recruit people to our campaign. I think I got a $200 or $300 budget from our advocacy team, and turning that into $8,000 as a marketer would say is some pretty good ROI. So we had a lunch meeting with some Sweetgreens bowls to first build the pages individually. So we just walked through everybody through that, made sure nobody got stuck there. And then a couple weeks later, we did another lunch where we sat down and wrote social posts and emails. We used the templates that the BCM team provided, but also gave our team some other tips to make that as easy as possible. And then we just continued to send out reminder emails, asking people pretty much weekly with an update on how much we'd raised, all the way leading up to our campaign to either donate or to join the cause. So just asking people over and over and making it as easy as possible. I think were a couple of things that helped. Next year, some feedback I've gotten is to just give people more time. I think that would just give us more chances to ask, so we can try to get even more people involved. We ended up having 5 people fundraise a total of about, it worked out to about $1,700 a piece on average. I think the people that were most successful definitely were ones that were just kind of typically already active on social media. I could tell when they'd make a post because I'd see the donations come in, but I don't post on Instagram for anything other than I think my engagement and my wedding were the last 2 posts I made. So I was more emailing, texting friends. People were absolutely happy to donate. We ended up having about 10 or 11 people come on our hike. There's a picture on the left. We had a beautiful clear day at Bierstadt. Everybody had a great time. Smartwool gives us volunteer hours we can use for things like this. So it was a free day off. Really couldn't have gone any better. So we're looking forward to running it back next year. Just got to figure out which peak we're going to hike.
Sweet, thank you. I know there's a couple brand folks on here. Do any of you have questions for Tyler? Cool.
Recognize this
I
shirt.
see some Smartwool being represented here from Dustin. Yeah.
Hi, Brad from Everyman Jack. I took a bunch of notes there, Tyler and Sarah. I'm excited to try to do something like this with Everyman Jack this year. We have a great mountain out the back door, so hopefully we can facilitate a similar hike up. Stay tuned.
Awesome. Yeah, I would say if any of you guys have questions, I'd be happy to provide examples or talk more about it. It was also really helpful that the team kind of helped us set up our corporate page at first, and there's plenty of examples. Like Thermacell has been doing this really successfully for a while, so we took a lot of inspiration from what they'd said on their page and the way that it was set up. I think that was really the hardest part, and then once the snowball gets rolling, it just that momentum really keeps going and people start getting excited about it.
Sweet. Awesome, thank you. So next we'll go to an individual AFSer, which is Tom or T-Rex.
Hey everybody, my name is Tom Miller. I'm an avid cyclist, a local Denver cyclist, and sometime along the way of my cycling, I picked up the nickname T-Rex. I do not know why, but it kind of stuck. and it transferred to my BCM trail nickname. So when I'm on BCM trips, all the Utes call me T-Rex. So I just kind of use that a lot in answer to that, and used it for my Adventure for Someone campaign. But I'm a longtime BCM volunteer. I've been on about 11 or 12 expeditions. I kind of lose count. I have it written down somewhere. And I've also done one Summit for Someone trip. I climbed Mount Rainier, and I think it was back in 2014. So before the Adventure for Someone program. And I normally do a BCM trip or try to do one every summer. And I was unable to do one this past summer. And so I decided to do an Adventure for Someone campaign. And it was really kind of interesting that my decision to do an Adventure for Someone campaign and the actual campaign, there was probably a month and a half time between the decision and the trip. Like I said, I'm an avid cyclist, and I had a cycling trip to Portugal. I know, tough life, right? I had a trip already booked in October. It was a 7-day cycling trip. And so I decided to use that as my Adventure for Someone campaign. And I named it T-Rex Trans Portugal, and had a little cartoon T-Rex character on a bike that was my avatar. And I really was amazed at how quickly everything came together. One, by necessity, but also just the ease of use of everything. I think I spent an afternoon on the site kind of encapsulating my why, which would be a tip like that I would give to anyone starting a campaign, is to put some thought into how you articulate why you're doing your campaign and what BCM means for you. And I would recommend be concise, but share your story in a meaningful way. And then I had an email list, and I sent out the request initially to a large email list. I think my original goal might have been $2,500 or $2,000. I can't remember what the original goal was, but I kept exceeding the goal, so I kept raising my goal. So I eventually ended up, much to my amazement and gratitude, at close to $6,000 for my campaign. I think I had a goal ultimately at the end. It was $5,000 or enough to fund a BCM expedition, which might be a little more than $5,000. But everyone really showed up for me in my campaign, and it was wonderful. I had a few just really quick pieces of advice that I wanted to share with everybody, and I'll kind of go through them quickly. And they're things that might be intuitive, but I thought it would be helpful. One is, and by the way, I had to tell myself this a lot, so I'm not kind of telling you. I'm almost like reminding myself of what I need to do. But don't overthink what you do, or that whatever you're doing is not maybe grand enough or big enough. I mean, just kind of leap, like the saying goes, leap and the net will appear. People will respond if your why is strong and if you're reaching the right audience. So don't worry too much about kind of what you're doing. Cast as wide of a net as possible. So those who like social media, that's great. Use that, and also emails. I was, being a cyclist, we use Strava, which is, I don't know, it's like Facebook for cyclists. I don't know. So I was using Strava a lot, reaching a whole new audience that I wasn't reaching otherwise. And so that was really important. And the last two that I had were keep folks involved. As you're kind of training or doing whatever you're doing, preparing for your adventure, if you can kind of remind folks via social media or whatever what you're doing, that keeps them engaged and also kind of keeps shaking the tree, and you'll get more donations. And then lastly, follow up with everyone and let them know kind of how the campaign went, and share pictures with them. You can get an email list of all the donors, through BCM, and follow up with emails of pictures and everything of what you did. So those would be my tips for anybody who's planning a campaign. Based on I don't know, the ease of use of my experience. You know, I have another cycling trip coming up in October of this year in Scotland, and I know, once again, tough life, right? But I'm going to make that another adventure for someone campaign and try to replicate the success I had in the first one. So that's all I have. It was a wonderful experience. I'll answer any questions if anyone has them.
Yeah, so if there's anyone here who's even just thinking or brainstorming of an individual AFS, TRX is a great resource, and now's a great time to ask questions. If you're someone who doesn't want to come off mute, you can put the question in the chat as well. I should have said that earlier. But feel free to put questions in the chat or direct them to me, and I can ask Tom if that's something that you want to. Sweet. And so then our last person is Dustin. He is running an AFS this year that is already incredibly successful. So Dustin, if you want to take a few minutes to share what you're doing and kind of your strategy behind it all as well.
Sure. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, Stacy, my wife couldn't be here. We're raising money for BCM through our company, Mountain Time Soap, if you have heard of us. And we decided to use BCM. We're a member of 1% for the Planet. So for about 4 years, our 1% of gross sales went to Big City Mountaineers. They were located in Golden at the time. And 1% of our sales went to Big City Mountaineers. So for us, the reason why we liked Big City Mountaineers was, you know, we're not ever going to be a $100 million company. You know, when we're writing a check for, you know, $3,000 to $5,000, we're super excited, you know, that we're making that much money. And what we liked about Big City Mountaineers is we're taking people who wouldn't normally have that opportunity, and we're bringing them and showing them something that we love, hoping that they fall in love with it and we'll protect it in the end. So it's definitely something we're passionate about. It goes along with the goals and vision of our company, and our personal goals and vision. So this came about, we've been thinking about it for a few years. We are climbing the highest point in every state, and we finished the lower 48 states this year. So we're going to do Denali for number 49, hopefully. And we put this together. We've been talking about this for about 2 years with people and prepping people that we're going to make it a fundraiser. So, you know, it's good to talk about the fundraiser, right? And it seems like I've been talking about it all the time. While this company's my wife's sole job, I have another job. Fortunately, it's for a very large company. There's lots of incentives there. So I've used we have a social network there. You know, group emails, things like that, where I'm letting people know, hey, I'm doing this climb. I'm committing a lot to this. I'm putting a lot of time in. I'm just asking you for a small donation, you know, to help out here. So another thing that my company has that is pretty great is up to $100. They'll match anyone. So I don't know, maybe $1,000 so far from colleagues, you know, for the last week. So I think that's pretty good. You know, that'll get matched for another $1,000 from the company. My company also has a foundation where they do this fundraising and it's basically a grant. So I'm putting in a request for that grant. How are we doing elsewhere? You know, social media is great. Social media is, I've been told, is one of the worst ways to fundraise because it's real easy for people to ignore it. It doesn't bother me to ask people for money at all. And I think, you know, one thing I would say is it sounds like some companies that get involved in this is great training for people, because fundraising is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. And it makes following up on a 60-day invoice, at least in my case, it makes it a lot easier when you're used to asking people for money. So this is a great activity for anybody. So the last thing that I wanted to explain is Mountain Time Soap. We have a amazing following of people. We have a couple of thousand subscribers who, you know, receive packages on a quarterly basis from us. And we're in the process of printing some literature for our specific adventure for someone that we're going to put in each of these boxes. And We don't know how successful that will be yet, but just judging by the interaction that we have with our customers, we really think that that will generate another few $1,000s for this campaign. So we're really excited to enter kind of that aspect of it. And I think that's all I really have. Is there anything else that you were thinking?
Nope, that was great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we're pretty lucky to be the three folks who have talked. And Sarah, it sounds like you were involved in the Smartwell one too. We're like really, really successful. So they really do have some tips on the fundraising aspect, which, yeah, Dustin, I think you nailed it. Asking people for money can suck. So asking people who have done it well is a really good tool to maybe get over that nervousness of asking folks for money. So any last questions for any of the folks who spoke? And again, chat is good too. I can echo whatever I read.
I do have a quick question for those that have done previous fundraisers. I have as well. Is there anything that you would do differently than you have in your previous fundraisers you think might have added a little bit of value or more contributions that could help some of us learn?
I think for me, it's a good question. I think for me, I mentioned casting a wide net and make the most use of available, social media platforms that are out there. I think I might have optimized some of those things maybe earlier in the process if I had it to do over again, which I will this coming September. The sooner you can let people know what you're doing and kind of do the prep work like Dustin's doing and Stacy, I think the better. And so I think the maybe some pre-work to say, hey, I'm planning on this or get ready for this, and then casting an even wider net. But overall, and I don't want to beat the same drum I beat earlier, I think it's everybody, a lot of people have the experience that it's surprising, and I guess it shouldn't be surprising, but it's surprising what type of reaction you get and how many people are interested in helping. So I guess the wider net you cast, the better that's going to be. And so that would be my input.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that I would take some more of what Dustin's energy was around, not being afraid to ask and showing how much you're doing, and to what T-Rex said, getting really clear on your why. For us, I think we'll be able to plan a little bit further ahead, give less people reasons not to participate, and just continue to, talk to people as many times as we can with weekly updates over a longer period of time about how things are going.
Yeah, thank you both for that insight. Oh, I'm sorry, David, I cut you off.
No, that's okay. I can attempt an answer too. Hi, everyone. I'm David, if we haven't met. I'm Linnea's colleague, and I dabble in fundraising for BCM. I think one of the most effective ways to do this is to talk about your personal why. Like, this is something you don't have to do, but why does it matter to you? And I think Dustin spoke to that really well. Smartwell continually speaks to that. T-Rex, you had a great bit of language on your page about that as well. And then what that does is it kind of moves from, I'm not asking you for money, I'm really wanting you to get engaged with something awesome that I care about. And I mean, to be honest, I don't love asking people for money either, but I love getting people excited about something I care about. So, really focusing your personal why at the forefront, to me, has been a really successful move.
Yeah, thank you all three for the very thoughtful answers. Very similar experience here, doing a fundraiser for another organization, hiking the Colorado Trail. Casting out that wide, what I found that might be helpful for others here is I was surprised at how many people outside of the outdoor community found my adventure interesting and wanted to support it in that way. I thought it would be kind of my outdoor nerd friends who would be a little bit more supportive of it. But the curiosity and some of the other things that, of course, a lot of sharing on social media and those things helped. It was kind of surprising to me how much support I got from those folks that I knew had my back personally, but didn't think that they would be very interested in that. So thank you all three for those responses. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. That was super helpful. The last bit of this is just kind of walking through how to set up Classy pages for all corporate AFSs. I set up the page for y'all and then share the URL with you. And then from there, you can create your individual pages. For individual fundraising or AFSs, you do create your page. So it starts on our webpage. And you have to fill out a form stack and a waiver. This is something that is required for an AFS. People in the corporate realm or the brand realm, you have to do this too. So you'll be going through our website and filling this out, and then the link, which I'll show you, will direct you to the general AFS page, but we'll be sending you the link to the actual brand AFS page for each brand. So you're going to go to register your campaign. And that's great. And then you fill out these forms as you do. Oh, what is my work number? And and then this will take you to that's a funny which thing. So then this will take you to the waiver that everyone does need to fill out. So this is our liability waiver. A classic liability waiver just so that we can't get sued. So same deal. And then this will take you to the general AFS page. So it'll say create your fundraiser. Again, this is our 2024 one for individuals. So we'll start with the individuals. So if you want to become a fundraiser, you're obviously going to be clicking the become a fundraiser button. If you want just to donate, you would hit donate now. So this is the page that you would send out. You can send out to people, or you can send them to your specific one. So for Mountain Time Soap, we can send them this URL and then they would come right here to donate. If you're creating your page, it is really simple. If you are trying to do it as a team, as a group of people, you'll be hitting create a team. If you're doing it as an individual, you'll be doing it as an individual. And if, say, you are someone joining a team, then it's joining a team. So pretty self-explanatory. We're going to say I'm an individual. And we will use my... So this is where you pick your parameters. You can make your fundraising goal. Again, no amount is too little or too much. It really should be something that feels accessible to you. If that is $500, that's great. That still makes a difference for a kid from a disinvested community. And this is where you want to start sharing your why. So your page headline, make it unique, make it something that describes what you are doing. So we're going to say, I'm going to you don't need to worry about the short URL. This is where you can choose your photo. So this is the avatar. So like T-Rex's was the cartoon T-Rex. Mountain Time Soap is one of a little venue of theirs pop up. And then member questions. No one else will be seeing this. And I think a lot of these are optional. And now your page is done. So to manage it, you can hit manage, and then so that was in the upper right corner, and that's where you can edit your story, and that is where you can go into detail as to your why. So I can hit compose, and I can talk about why I am biking to every pizza joint in Denver to raise money for Big City Mountaineers. This can be, again, kind of the selling point sometimes for a lot of people. So if you are able to really be honest and open here, that's going to make a difference. You can thank your donors, so you can customize, I think, the email that automatically goes out when people donate, and as well as the emails that go to. So this is all available to you. If this is something that you don't want to do, I totally can. You can say, hey, can you put this on my page? Or this is kind of the gist of the story that I want. And then I can go and manage it as well. If there's an edit that you want done, I can do that too. Best if you do it because you're the one who knows your why and you're the one who can tell your story. And that is all through this platform called Classy. If you want, we also have fundraising kits, kind of decks that we can send out that might have some tips and tricks too, for each of the fundraisers. And then if we were to go corporate, so this is an example that I just made for Nemo. This was going to be edited because details are TBD. But again, I will be creating the page and then I'll send you the URL. If you are joining your brand as a fundraiser, you're going to be clicking become a fundraiser. And then you go through that same process of filling things out, picking your fundraising goal, kind of sharing your why, and then you will create a page underneath your brand's page. So again, this is just the beginning of Nemo's. You would send me kind of the details that you want on there, and then I can create it, and then it's really easily editable if there's a mistake or if you want to add something. And then the folks who join will be auto-populated to this page. So if we go to last year's, so this was Smart Wolves from 2023. So this is their landing page. You can't do it anymore because it's closed. But you can see the folks who were part of their page were all down here. If I wanted to donate to Tyler's, I would click on Tyler, and then I would donate to their campaign. So that is, again, the corporate one. It's very, very similar. The only difference is that I make your page. It's separate from the individual AFS, and you kind of control everything else. Your fundraising amounts, your story, some of the emails and auto messages that get sent out, you can make those what you want. So people can leave comments. I don't know how often any of you followed those, but sometimes there's some really nice ones too. If you want to find one that is really sentimental, actually, we should just show the example. The one that was in memory of Vic was pretty moving. His friend passed, I think, in a climbing accident, and his entire page was dedicated to him. So here is an example of, I would say, a really, really solid, moving story as to why they're doing what they did, if y'all can read that. And that is pretty much all I have for everyone, which is great. We finished early. So if anybody has questions, I will stay on as long as needed to answer those. And the last slide has my email, but I will put it in the chat right now. So feel free to ask any questions anytime via email. We really want to support you in the ways that you need. And if that even means like pinging ideas off on how to fundraise, I'm happy to do that too. We can hop on a Zoom call. We can hop on a phone call. If you're in Denver, happy to meet you in person. Just to help facilitate, because asking for money can be challenging. Definitely want to acknowledge that. So, if anybody has any questions, now is the time. Now is a time. Otherwise,
Oh, did somebody just come up? I think I might have cut someone off. Okay. Maybe you can help me, kind of narrow in my efforts here. So I will soon be publishing a book about my Pacific Crest Trail hike. 17 different chapters covering a variety of experiences and life and things that I reflected on the trail. And I will be throughout the year, Suicide Prevention Month, Mental Health Awareness Month, are two examples that I will be giving proceeds from that book toward those organizations. So what I'm wondering now is, because also as an outdoor kid, BCM is the, my kind of go-to of choice to encourage, youth activity in the outdoors. Now, I'm looking at a couple different options. One is to, for that first year that the book is published, take a percentage of those amounts. It won't necessarily be a fundraiser per se, as you all are using here. Or I could, for 1 month, do it. But I don't know if you think it would be best to make just a donation based off whatever it is I choose to. Because what I don't want to do is have 2 to 3 different fundraisers going on at the same time. You see what I mean?
yeah, manage.
So I'm wondering if you think it would be best for me just to go the donation route rather than this route, and try to line up the money to this program. But I don't know. Hopefully I don't know if there's a question hidden in there, but yeah.
I would say you want, if you were to go the AFS route, you would want to be leading up to something. So if it's like leading up to the publishing of this book, I would like to raise funds to donate to Big City Mountaineers. My goal is this much. Because if you're active in that fundraiser specifically, you might get more money than if you just kind of say you're donating at this percentage or something. But then you would be managing multiple fundraisers.
Yeah. And my concern there too is, folks, because I'll be using the book as a platform, the book has not been released. You know what I mean? Building up. Okay, I want you to, throw money at this. I also want you to support the book. So yeah, a lot of things for me to kind of think through.
Yeah, if you want to, Jason, we can hop on a call and kind of verbal vomit ideas too. To talk through stuff, because that is definitely unique. It would be a very unique AFS, but it would be really interesting.
Yeah. So what I think I'll do is I'm also mindful of the years, because this current year ends in October. Is that correct for this?
Yeah.
Because I probably won't get the books in hand until June. They won't be out on Amazon until September. So likelihood of me rolling this over to next year is pretty high. So
okay.
I think when the right time comes, when I actually get the thing in my hand, may send you a copy and just kind of link up with you after that to see probably a 25 event or whatever this turns out to be.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds great. And also awesome that you're writing a book on the PCT.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate your help. I appreciate your patience in my kind of questions.
Of course,
Kind
yeah,
of, I
no,
don't know.
sometimes you just need to think out loud and
Exactly.
so,
Thank you so much. And
yeah,
thanks for
thank you.
lining this up for us.
Of course, thanks for coming. Anyone else have any questions? Sweet. Well, if y'all have places to go or need to roll off, totally do that. I'll hang on for a few more minutes in case there's anybody that has any last thoughts. But really appreciate everyone coming. If you want some resources on just general fundraising for AFS, we have, again, kits and decks for that. Happy to send those if you want them. So feel free to shoot me an email. The AFS at Big City Mountaineers on the screen will also go towards me, or it can be linnea.delucchi@bigcitymountaineers.org. But really appreciate all of you coming and learning and listening about this. And we hope to, increase community through this fundraising program. So have a great rest of y'all's days. Hi, Linda. Did you have any questions? All right, then I think we are going to roll off and end this meeting.